There are nearly 35,000 NGOs operating now in Egypt since the first one was established in 1821. The January uprising in 2011 was a turning point. It witnessed a huge boom. 15,000 new NGOs were established in the last 4 years alone.
After January 2011, there was a relative opening of the public sphere, and there was a lot of pressure from the street and from the ongoing demonstrations and from the different and various actors that came up to the scene right after the revolution. And this is basically why the state felt a lot of pressure to sort of allow more room for non-governmental organizations to work in Egypt. It's not that the state was absent, it is basically that the pressure on the state was quite acute.
Most of the organizations work in charity and welfare services to the poor and needy areas. There was a surge in human rights, political as well as Islamist-led groups after 2011. In 2014, the government began a crackdown on these organizations and most were closed down.
All these different measures reflected the state's will to sort of limit political activism in Egypt. And a lot of this activism was either done by non-institutional political forces like social movements or by non-governmental organizations. And there was a definite willingness from the state to actually sort of curb or limit the different forces of opposition and to lower the ceiling of freedoms of expression.
Authorities accuse these organizations of supporting terrorism and being a tool for foreign powers inside Egypt. The government exercised its legal powers to monitor and freeze foreign funding for NGOs. The government can even reject the appointment of board members and any activities by the civil society groups.
Specifically the ones that were working with political powers, with political parties, with social movements, working in activities related to elections. A lot of them changed their main focus and started working on cultural issues, artistic issues even, or some of them simply disappeared. What is required is actually taking the political content out of supervising NGOs. Political supervision of non-governmental organizations should not be allowed, and also constant interference of the final product of the work should not be allowed as well. You can interfere in the legal mechanics of their existence, but not in the final outcome of their production.
There seems to be a long way for rights groups to be allowed to work effectively here. As one legal activist said, we waste a lot of our efforts trying to protect ourselves from authorities rather than protect the underprivileged. Yasser Hakim for CCTV, Cairo.